This is the second video of the demand curve, and we're going to look at the actual shifts of the demand curve. The previous video is important. It's important to understand how the demand curve works, but this video is going to look at what happens when the demand curve changes or shifts. I've gone ahead and cleared things up, and I put our equation over here on the right so we can reference that if we need to. So let's go ahead and look at shifts in our demand curve. So if we look at this price, this where P is here, and whenever I reference a variable, don't get too stressed out about it. All I'm saying is, this random price here. Okay, and I'm not referring to any specific price. It's just a random price, whatever we choose. And we move across here. So we're about here. And then we move down, and this is going to be our quantity at that price, remember? Let's say that there is an increase in the quantity demanded. So quantity increases. And what happens to our demand curve in this case? Well, our demand curve shifts to the right. And what does that mean when we say shifts to the right? Well, the quantity demanded at that same price is going to increase. So this spot here is our new quantity, and I'm going to just put it as Q1. So the quantity demanded at that same price is going to increase. More people are going to want the product at that price. So, what are things that can cause that? Well, if you think about yourself as an individual, let's say you got an increase in your pay. Okay, your pay say doubles. So if your pay doubles, maybe you go to your favorite restaurant more often, okay? The price of your favorite food, let's say your favorite food is a pizza, okay? The pizza doesn't change price, but you now have more income, so you can now go and you can purchase that pizza more often. And this goes for anything, right? Let's say you enjoy playing video games, okay? If your pay doubles, you can now buy more video games. The price of the video games has not increased. The price is the same. But now that you have more money, you can buy, say, two video games a month. And an increase in income is just one way this can occur. There's an infinite amount, really. And eventually I'll make a video explaining some of the different ways that are most common for a shift in the demand curve to the right. So now we've seen a increase in demand. Let's go ahead and look at a decrease in demand. Okay, so we've seen our rightward shift, and now this is going to be a leftward shift. So our demand curve is, of course, going left. All right. And there's really not too much different here, but let's go over it really quick. So our quantity demanded decreases. And I'll mark this new spot as Q1. Okay. So the quantity demanded decreases. So what's this saying? So if P stays the same, the quantity demanded at that price will decrease. So now fewer people are purchasing the product at that price. So what's an example of a decrease in demand? Well, think about, say, an obsolete product. Think about DVDs, okay? Most people use streaming services. Not as many people purchase DVDs anymore. So DVDs, the demand for them has decreased. So the quantity demanded for a DVD at the same price as, say, 20 years ago, the quantity demanded has decreased. And that's what we see here, okay? Going from Q to Q1, if we stay at that same price, the quantity demanded decreases at that price. And when we bring all this together and we look at supply and demand together, we'll kind of see what happens and how companies react to these changes. But right now, we're just looking at our demand curve. So we've seen how quantity demanded changes. If quantity demanded decreases, our demand curve shifts to the left. If quantity demanded increases, our demand curve shifts to the right. The only other thing is movement along this line. So we start, say, at this point right here, and say we move up to this point here. Okay, this is a movement along the line. We're still on that same original demand curve, so it's just a movement along the line as opposed to a shift. So what occurs here, and we won't discuss this too much here, we'll have a later video to discuss this a little bit more. But what causes this is, say, a tax or a point down here, say right here. Okay, this would be a subsidy. So what's different here is the quantity demanded doesn't change. The tax or the subsidy increases or decreases the price, which is going to influence the quantity demanded. So again, don't think too much about that. We'll make a different video explaining subsidies and taxes and how those affect things. Just focus on the shifts for this video, and we'll make another video with that other information. That'll be it for the demand video. Our next video, we'll look at supply. The video after that, we'll put them together and we'll look at demand and supply together. Go ahead and like and subscribe so you can get the updates, and we'll see you on the next video.